AITA for telling my niece my husband and I are not going to her birthday because my husband isn't welcome? I have been with my husband for 10 years. We have been married for 5 of those years. He has suffered horrific trauma at the hands of his dad. His parents were married and expecting twins when his mom suffered some kind of hemorrhage and she ended up with eclampsia. My husband's mom and twin sister did not make it. But my husband did after a period of time in the NICU. His dad told him it was his fault they died. He had grandparents who meant the world to him and tried to shield him from his dad's anger. But when he was 8 years old they died also. His father then blamed him. He spent the next 10 years hearing day after day that he was the reason. At no point did he have another person to reassure him it wasn't. When we met he had just started to heal. He was away from his dad and attending therapy. It was a very big fear of his that what his dad said was true. He is a wonderful man and my nieces and nephews adore him. He was always so good with them and the rest of my family. In January 2020 I was pregnant and we went for a scan where we learned I had miscarried. As soon as my husband heard this, something inside of him broke. He started to unravel. He was in the middle of a mental health crisis. He was doing this weird manic laugh that was also a sob. He ran out of the room and I followed after him, concerned. My mom and sister both work at the hospital. Sister's a nurse while mom worked in the little gift store. Both saw him in this worst moment. They saw as medical personnel were forced to intervene because he was in the middle of a breakdown, hysterical and totally out of it. He was totally broken and nothing could reach him. It was the scariest moment of my life. The worst moment of his. And they judged him for laughing. Then when they told the rest of the adults in my family, they also judged him. All of my family were aware of his history. He told them about it years ago. My husband ended up under the care of a psychiatrist who suggested he needed a lot more help than therapy could provide. Instead of understanding, my family no longer wanted him around. They said a man who could laugh at his own wife's miscarriage was not the kind of man they wanted around the kids. I told them I would not leave him behind. My niece is turning 12 this year and is having her first big party since COVID. She called and said she wanted us there but she hadn't seen us on her mom's list. I told her we wouldn't be able to come and that I was sorry, we both were. She was upset and asked why she never saw us. Why we wouldn't come to her birthday party. Why we missed them all now. I told her that my husband was not welcome by the other adults in the family anymore. She apparently yelled at her parents and mine. Then I got shit from them for telling her what I did. They said I had no business saying that. AITA? NTA. I respect you for standing with your husband. That was the right move. If they want welcome both of you, then neither of you attend. As far as telling your niece the truth, I agree with that too. You have nothing to hide. There was nothing inappropriate about revealing this to her. And it sounds like you kept the explanation short. I did. I told her none of what happened. Just that he was no longer welcome. Holy hell, NTA. So much NTA. I am so sorry you and your husband lost your child like that. And I'm so sorry, especially for your husband. That must have opened fresh wounds. The scarring on that is deep and concerning. No, I don't think that you and your husband should be surrounded by people who totally judge him based on an extreme vulnerable moment in both of your lives. His mental health comes first. I hope you and him are doing better. He blamed himself. The moment he heard our baby had no heartbeat, he believed it was all because of him, again. That still haunts us. He doesn't even remember what happened after hearing the words. Sister's a nurse while mom worked in the little gift store. Both saw. Big violation of privacy if they told family what happened at the hospital. NTA. Generally, I don't think it's fair to pull the children into the adults' problems, and while I still think it feels icky, I'm going to say NTA. She's 12. She's reached out to you specifically and wants to know why you won't be there and why you haven't been there. I think it's okay you told her and okay that she's calling your family out on it. NTA. AITA, I lied to the people who I was babysitting for to get them to come home. I am 15 years old and I babysit to make money. I took a first aid course and a babysitting course. Last weekend, one of my little sister's classmates' parents had a wedding to go to and asked if I would babysit. I asked how late they would need me and if I should pack an overnight bag if they were going to be staying out all night. They said that they would be home by midnight. So I checked with my dad if that was okay because he is my ride. He doesn't want me alone in a car with adults that he does not know. So my dad was there to pick me up at 11:50. The kids were all asleep and I was watching TV. I had texted them at 11 o'clock to double that they would be in time. The mom texted me back, yes. 12:30, they still aren't there. I texted again. No answer. I called my dad and he is pissed. Not at me. 1 o'clock. I called them. No answer. My dad went and got a coffee at home and came back. He is all calm. Not good. He is ready to blow. I texted every 15 minutes. No response. 2:20, I have an idea. I texted them that someone tried to break into their garage but that the alarm scared them away. They were home drunk in an Uber in 15 minutes. My dad made them pay me for my extra time before we left. He told me that I'm not allowed to babysit for them again unless I charged them for an overnight stay. Yesterday at school, I saw the mom when I was picking up my sisters after school. She gave me shit for scaring her and her husband. That they had checked their security cameras and no one tried to break in. I said sorry, the alarm went off so I called you. She called me a liar. Which is fair. But I don't feel bad about what I did. They lied to me first. My mom says I should have just sucked it up, but my dad says that they broke our deal. I kind of feel bad for tricking them into coming home from their party. But they could have told me it was an overnight or texted me that they were going to be late. My dad has brought me an overnight bag before when that has happened. Edit. My mom wanted me to call the police to see if they had been in an accident. But I thought that if they were still at the wedding it would cause a scene. NTA. The fact that the parents said yes they would be home at 12 and then wouldn't respond for 2 hours is bullshit. Where she gets off being pissed at you is crazy. Please tell me they apologized when they finally got home. They did not. NTA. They had no regards to you and your time, forcing a minor to stay up way late and ignoring your texts. The fact that they came home right after you scared THRM shows that they read your texts, just decided to ignore them. You told a white lie to force THRMHOMR after all other attempts failed. This would also likely count as child abandonment if OP really wanted to press the issue when they weren't coming home. They had a minor watching their children and didn't bother to ask her to stay overnight. After 1 a.m. she had no responsibility to them. Your dad is right. Sure, the lying is not great, but they were the ones who fucked up. You are absolutely not an asshole, they are. And learn from your father, not your mother. She's too much into people pleasing. Yep. NTA. They didn't communicate like decent people if they would be late and how long, and the fact they ignored your texts but were quick to come home when it was a fake emergency shows a lot on what they expected you to do. Your dad has your back. Your mom has her, and maybe your reputation in mind. That doesn't mean anything if she only care about people pleasing. Parent or not, you communicate when you are late to your agreement and try to honor it. They wanted to pull a fast one on you and I am happy you stood your ground. There's no judgment needed because you're NTA at all. They lied to you. Twice. You kept trying to ring and call them and clearly they were checking their messages if they all of a sudden came home because they thought the alarm was off. Considering they didn't text you to say they needed you overnight, despite you asking, they're the for staying out later. You're only 15, and they took advantage of your babysitting. At least your dad was angry at the right people, and he got you the overtime pay. Your mom is an for telling you to suck it up. If I thought my teenager was going to be home at a certain time because she was told by the parents they'd be home, I'd expect my child home unless the parents asked nicely if they could change the plans. I'd just ignore that woman. She's an for doing that to you. It doesn't matter what she thinks. Only hope that she doesn't spoil any future business for you.